Welcome to Soul Sync. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Soul Sync.
Hello, everyone. Happy therapy day.
The best day ever.
100%.
How are we doing? Everyone looks great. Did you do
You
something different with your hair? The glasses? I don't know, but she's glowing up today.
So are you, boo boo. We're all looking good. We're all mirrors for each other, right?
Go on. And that we motherfucking are. You got
Mhm.
to think to yourself, like, damn, she must be doing something behind the scenes that we don't know about, you know?
Yo, I love the way you slipped that right in there.
See what I did there?
Because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today is the work that you do behind the scenes that nobody else knows about, but is really the driving force of you accomplishing your goals.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about why it's important and why it's so needed. And it's kind of like the foundation of anything that you want to go full force into in your life. Any project you want to start, any new goal you want to achieve, any dream that you're working on. It's like, okay, but what's going on behind all that when it's just you and your goals
Mhm.
behind closed doors? So, as you can tell, me and Sammy, we usually come up with these ideas like right on the spot, basically, or like after we have our calls. And I feel like our call today was super special because I mean, we both feel so much better and you let things out. But like this was kind of the premise of it also. Like kind of realizing like, okay, well, how are we self-evaluating? You know, where's our self-awareness with everything? And then it's just bringing it all to light. And we can do that for each other. So it's really important that we even see each other's behind the scenes, you know, as best friends. So,
No, I totally. How am I supposed to respond when you
I
do
don't
that?
know. That was like the only thing I thought to do. I was like, well, that's like a period, right? Period.
Oh my God, I literally cannot breathe. You just cracked me up. Literally yesterday with your audio, I could not stop laughing. Like, I don't know, you just give me that good bubbly energy. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. I feel like whenever I talk to you, honestly, so many things come out that I don't even fully have the awareness to yet, or I'll be talking through a circumstance and then I'll get a download or I'll have a breakthrough just because I'm speaking it out loud, you know? So I think it's really important to have a support system to talk about the journal prompts, to talk about the affirmations, to talk about the limiting beliefs coming up. Like we kind of got this idea because I have a really big project that I've been working on. And I audio Taylor last night and I was like, okay, tomorrow my intention is to talk through these limiting beliefs because I hear them coming up. I feel them coming up and I see them causing little, nothing crazy, but little things that I'm manifesting right now because of these limiting beliefs. So it's like you have to find that awareness. And then once you have the awareness, you can start doing something about it. But for me, the awareness was just, oh my gosh, I'm having a lot of limiting beliefs. I'm noticing I'm in this energy. Let's talk through it so that we can like shift through it together and come up with a game plan.
Yeah, I think it's really important to talk it out. And I feel like that should be like the first step to anything because sometimes you don't even realize that they are limiting beliefs until you start like explaining them or describing them or just like talking it out with someone. And then you can notice the tone, you can notice the words that you're using are like not really in your best interest. They're like not the best words to use. Like if you're talking about your goals and your dreams and something you really want to do, and you're kind of using and finding patterns of words like, I don't know, but I don't know if I'm qualified, but I don't know, that seems like a lot of money, or but I don't know if anyone's going to show up, like stuff like that. And it's just like little things that if you're talking with someone else, like they'll be able to pick up on them and they'll be able to notice and be like, okay, but the energy behind it, like the way you're speaking about it, the energy that you're using, the words, like everything you can kind of dissect right then and there. And then it's really clear to see like where your starting off point is, where you are behind the scenes of this goal and of this dream. So I think self evaluation is fucking huge and very important. And you got to set it right from the very beginning and be like, this is the energy we are going full force with behind the scenes and in front of the scenes.
No, 100%. And Taylor actually said something and she called me out and she was like, that's not really speaking in your power, Sammy. Or
Mhm.
what did you say? It was something similar to that, right?
I said, like, you have way too much power to be thinking like that or talking like that or something. I don't know. Exactly.
100%. And it was things that I knew that I was thinking and that I was saying, and just having her say that. And then together we just started going back and forth about like, okay, well, what would this look like if I was in my power? And we immediately started doing the rewiring. But I think what's really important here about like this quote unquote idea of doing the work behind the scenes is you need to know what you want to achieve and you need to know what your purpose is. So I told her I just did with my coach, the mobile medium, Amanda Rose. She had me do an entire piece of homework where I wrote out my mission statement, I wrote out my core values, I wrote out why they were core values for Lotus Lives, and I did a couple of other things that really just helped me get crystal clear on like, this is the purpose, this is the passion, this is who I really want to help, so that when it comes to any future projects, I can always go back to that energy. And it's also equally important to understand where these limiting beliefs are coming from in the first place. So, a lot of these beliefs were passed down to me. They were things that were said to me, they were things that I saw from other people's experiences that were put onto me that I just kind of like energetically claim when I don't fucking need to, right? Like, it's so easy for me for other people to be like, girl, like that was her story, that was his story. You get to rewrite your own. But something Taylor and I were talking about is when you're in the thick of it, it can be hard to remember that. Like, we are also human. We have so many emotions, we have so many experiences that we're kind of like using from our subconscious as like proof of, well, this is why you should be worried. And your anxiety starts coming up and your ego starts coming up. And you need to go to that first initial point of, where did this start? Where is this coming from? Because if not, it bleeds everywhere. Like, it bleeds all over your relationships, it bleeds all over the goals that you want to have and achieve. And then you start self sabotaging. So, this is really the power of the behind the scenes. You need to understand why your goals are the goals that you have, but you also need to understand why you aren't fucking achieving them right now and what is holding you back. And that takes a lot of deep inner work that I feel like we don't talk about enough. And that's why I always come in here and I tell you guys what I told you last podcast about where I was at this year and where I was at in my relationship, because I think it's really important for you guys to see that there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes, and it's powerful to do that work. And you don't need to always talk about it, but it doesn't make it any less important to actually getting done.
Fucking preach. Oh my God. Everyone rewind, click that like little back 15 arrow, or is it 10? I don't know. You know, when you're like ding, 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 click it like 3 times. That was so fucking important. Like, I really think that's the premise of everything. It's that deep inner work that people just overlook. And maybe you are that one thing that's holding yourself back or holding your dreams back or holding back whatever. It's like the deep inner work, look behind the scenes of behind the scenes. And it's just like the foundation of everything. So if you're being like, why aren't things working out? Like, I'm frustrated. Like, why haven't I been moving forward? Like, look at yourself first. Look at your thoughts. Look at like the deep core beliefs that you have about certain things and about how certain things will work out for you. Because your brain will always look for evidence of the things that you believe in. So if you believe that things always work out for me no matter what, and I will learn this because I'm a quick learner, or I'll hop on the call and I'll know what to say and I'll know how to act because that's just how I am and I'm confident and I exude confidence. And if I don't know how to do it, I'll learn how to do it. Like, if you are firm in your belief that like everything will work out and I'll figure it out, your brain starts looking for proof and for evidence of this in every situation. But it's the same in the opposite sense. If you're kind of wobbly in that way and you're just like, oh, I don't know, like I don't know anything about business. So I'm getting on a business call and if they ask me these questions, I'm not going to know them and I'm just going to kind of like feel embarrassed and be like, whatever. It's like, no, you're already setting yourself up to be like just not on the right path and not in the right energy. So it really is like all behind the scenes of the behind the scenes. So like why are you feeling that way? Why is there like a confidence thing with it? Like obviously you're not going to know how to do these things if they're brand new to you. So there's an aspect of like giving yourself grace in it too and patience and being like, listen, like we can do this together. And you're talking you to your higher self. Like, Queen, we're doing this together. Me and my ego over there can fuck off and just like leave him out of the equation.
No,
You
I
know,
agree. And I feel like once you get to that point, you can accomplish so much. Like I know one of my best friends, and this just goes to show that this could be something that happened to you too, that had nothing to do with you, but that is controlling the way that you're thinking and acting now. So one of my best friends, when she was a freshman in high school, she lost her best friend at a very young age. And she had this like limiting belief and she had all of these feelings kind of like pent up that she didn't work through because she didn't know how to emotionally handle a situation like that, especially so young. So when we met this year, that was something she was really working on. She was really working on healing that. And she went to therapy, which I was so supportive and so proud of her for because I feel like all of us could use therapy. That's why me and Taylor joke that this is like therapy because it really is for us. Like we're talking each other through these problems and we feel 100% safe and comfortable with each other. And we always make sure we have that disclosure of like, okay, if I said anything that does not resonate, don't take it. Like, leave it, only takes what resonates. Let me know what you think. Like, we're very open with our communication. And my best friend went from feeling just like so lost in a lot of areas in her life, especially like her career, because she was in this like managerial position where she didn't necessarily feel like she had like earned it. Two, she got a promotion, she got a fucking raise. She now has people working under her, which is fucking awesome. She started her own business and she's getting clients now. She's feeling better than ever in all aspects of her life, like her relationship with herself, her friendships, her family. She got a new car. Like, so much has changed all because she went back and she did this inner work on something that she had no control over. Like, we don't have control over death. That's something we kind of talked about with like the death and rebirth podcast, We don't have control over it. However, it caused so much pain and it caused so many limiting beliefs for her because she was constantly scared that she was going to lose somebody else that she loved. So once she really was able to forgive that situation and just fucking talk about it for the first time in a really safe environment, everything changed. And it's something that she doesn't tell anybody about, which is why I'm obviously not giving too many details and I won't tell you her name. But I'm so impressed by her and I'm so inspired by her. And I think about things like that. And that makes me want to do the hard work for myself too. Because let's be honest, none of us want to think about these things, right? Like nobody wants to be like, what are my deepest traumas? Like, let me just go work through this. Let me think about the times that I've been hurt the most. But this is the work that's the most powerful because these are the things that are holding you back, right? So it's like, how bad do you want it? Like, are you willing to go back and revisit that if it means giving you the life and most importantly, the feelings and the openness to all of this love and light and all of the things that you want? Like, I would do that any day. I would do that every day. And I do.
yeah, exactly. And it's motivational and it's inspiring. And like you are touching other people in this way. Like they're feeding off of all that and being like, well, what can I do, myself to be in a similar position? Or how can I do this? So it's just really nice to know that like no one's ever alone in this. Like everyone has their own life and their own upbringing. And we've come from so many different backgrounds and histories and stories and traumatic events, and it has shaped us in one way or another. And sometimes we take it and we run with it in a good way. And
Mhm.
sometimes it latches on to certain beliefs and it just kind of stays with us and we don't challenge it. We're like, that's what this is, period. You know, when it comes to trusting people, when it comes to opening up, to being vulnerable, it's kind of like your body and your brain's way of just kind of being safe and staying in that safe bubble because that's all that you know. And whether, your body and brain think that it's going to serve you and it's protecting you, which you're kind of like, okay, thank you. I see what you're doing. But it always comes to a point where it's holding you back. And it will come to a point where it's that one thing that's standing in between you and growth and
Mhm.
you and evolving into the person or the lifestyle that like you want to be, the life that you want to lead. So it's like another part of like choose your hard, like it's hard to do this inner work and face all of these fears and face everything that you thought, one way about, and you're challenging all of it later in life to be like, like let's revisit these things now that we know different information, we've seen a lot more. And yeah, I mean, therapy can help in that way too. But I personally have a belief that like we have all the answers within us.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just about tapping into that. And journaling is a really, really powerful method. Meditation is a really, really powerful method of getting deep down and being like, what is holding me back
Mhm.
from opening up, from trusting others, from understanding whatever. And trust can be so many different things. Trusting yourself, if things have happened to you a lot in the past that went against, what you believed or what you trusted in others and whatever, you can turn on yourself. And
Mhm.
you could be like, well, I should have seen that coming and I didn't. And so then it turns into like a different thing. And that can piggyback off of so many different situations. And I think it's like if you are really dedicated to your growth and your mindset and the trajectory of your life, and you're dedicated to understanding yourself and kind of like understanding the world, I don't know. There's an aspect that you cannot ignore this inner work. Like it will come up time and time again, and you'll ignore it and be like, I don't want to feel that. Like you said, like it's not a comfortable feeling. You can ignore it as much as you want, but you're going to come face to face with it eventually.
Yeah.
And it's just something that's like, it can't hold you back any longer. So maybe this is your sign that if there's some limiting belief that just keeps popping up and you can't get rid of it, it's like a little gnat. You know those little tiny gnats that like fly all up in your face and you're like, "Oh my God, get the fuck away." That's your limiting beliefs. If you don't fucking nip them in the bud, if you don't get a little gnat zapper,
Yeah.
it will just keep coming up. So, like you said, it's just really important to listen to the way you're talking and to just like find these little clues and then to trace it back to like, okay, what is the root thing here? What have I embedded in my brain that is forming all of these limiting beliefs? So start with that.
I agree. And if you guys ever do feel like too overwhelmed by all of this, I definitely recommend coaching too. I think that's another amazing method where, Taylor and I were talking about something and I kind of just started like pointing things out from what I saw. And it was very much so from like a coaching perspective, just because I am obsessed with like how the brain works and how people think and how your limiting beliefs are impacting what. And she was like, it's amazing how you can just like see things that I wasn't even seeing for myself. And I was like, yeah, well, that's the beauty of having someone who's unbiased, who doesn't know anything about any of it, but can just see the patterns, right? And call it out for you. And I feel like I've always loved this method because me, myself, like, I don't necessarily have a problem doing the work. Like, especially if I'm like, okay, this thing keeps popping up. I know I need to like work through this. I'll do it. But sometimes I really do need that extra push. Like my coach will give me like basically little prizes and be like, okay, Sammy, if you finish your homework by this, I'm gonna give you a free tarot card reading, or I'm gonna do this. And it really incentivizes me to want to get my shit done. And when she can like call out, kind of like Taylor did before, where she was like, that's not like a powerful way to be speaking to yourself. Like, I know it's happening, but I'm also allowing it to happen. So, having somebody else say something, it really just kind of like brings in my intuition a little bit more of like, wow, you're right. I should not be saying this. Like, I agree with you. And it just really opens up the door. And coaches just know how to help you because they've oftentimes been through it themselves before, too. So, they know exactly what advice to give you. But I feel like going into the next topic, it would be really amazing for us to give them some of the things that we do that helps us to find that awareness and do the behind the scenes work, and then what actual rituals we do that have helped us with this. So for me, I feel like the first thing that is key is the awareness, right? We need to become aware of the limiting beliefs and then we need to eliminate them. So how I personally like to do it is I just like to write a list of like every single thing that I'm stressed about, out about, every single thing that I've been doing that my higher self would not be doing, just anything that I'm like, this doesn't align with me and I want to work through this. And then I go ahead and I script out how I want to feel and how I want these situations to work out, right? So, for example, I had a little project that I was working on and I could tell that my limiting beliefs like affected the entire thing because when it came to the result of it, I didn't get specifically what I wanted. I got like three-fourths of what I wanted, but I didn't get the whole thing, right? So I would go ahead and I would script out exactly what I want, but also what beliefs and what feelings I need to feel in order to receive that, right? So it's like, I am so loved and worthy of being chosen. Like, I have such a divine purpose that I'm supported in everything that I do, right? I know one of my affirmations from my coach is I am always calm and at peace because I know that I'm in the presence of God. And that could be spirit, universe, source, whatever works for you. I personally believe they're all very similar and kind of have very similar meanings to me, but it makes me feel a lot better in the things that I'm doing and the things I'm working through when I don't fucking feel alone. So I remind myself that I have spirit and I remind myself that I have friends and I really just go deep into thinking about, well, these are all my worst case scenarios with the limiting beliefs. What could be the best case scenario? Right. And that's something Taylor and I actually made a journal prompt today. I had said, I was like, okay, like if I had all the fucking money in the world, if I knew that there were going to be this many spots filled up for this, like, how would I be showing up and what would that look like? Right. So it's just like if you're doing an event, if you're doing a new coaching program, if you're opening up your own business, if you're selling memberships, like whatever it is, if you had all the money in the fucking world, you're already rich, you're just starting this because you want to. And you know that when you open up, let's say 20 spots, that that's just going to be fully filled. People are going to be lining up at your door. What would you be giving them? How would you be showing up? How would you be feeling? So it's like, yeah, these limiting beliefs are from your past. Like, goodbye. We aren't her anymore. This is our future self. The answer to this question is what you need to be making your affirmations about, what you need to be doing your new beliefs about, and what you need to be most importantly focusing on. But you need to do both of those steps. You need to have the awareness of what it is you're letting go and then actually fucking take the work and the action steps to let it go. And then you need to be doing the action steps, knowing this is what I want for my future. This is how I would be showing up, and then acting like she would. So maybe, like Taylor said, she was like bite-sized pieces. Like for this project you're really nervous about, bite-sized pieces. Do a little bit per week until it's done. Right. So it's like, how can you make it smaller for yourself where you're still showing up, but you don't have so much just like conflict within yourself, you know?
Yes. Oh my God. To just combat all that, to just get ahead of it. Um, I love so much, and I utilize this too, of entertaining the best case scenario. So it's so easy for us to just jump into like the worst case scenario sometimes. And especially if we've never done it before, there's like so much unknown that's kind of like meshed all with it of like, well, I don't know, you know. Um, I feel like that's another way your brain keeps you safe is by looking at the worst case scenario and preparing for that kind of preparing for that blow of like, oh, you know, okay, like if this happens, then I'll do this. Or, you know, if no one shows up, then I'll do like, I'll be fine because I'll still like, there's always like a plan B or like a backup plan or whatever. but it's really important. I feel like this helps me out a lot too, to just like, I don't want to say not have a plan B, but not put nearly as much energy into any type of plan B planning or anything. Like there's plan A only. And we are entertaining the best case scenario only. So that totally like resonated with me too, of being like, you know, if your first thought and if you can kind of train your brain to do that, then that is huge. Like your first thought being like, not what the worst could happen, but what could be the best thing that comes out of this, you
Yeah.
know? So like even a trip anywhere, you know, out of the country. For example, for me, when I went to massage therapy school in Costa Rica, it was like, I'm pretty sure all of us could name like a 500 worst case scenarios of like going across country, a place that like they don't even speak English, you know, something I've never done before. I don't know anyone going. But what I did was I just ignored all of that. And I was like, but my want and my desire to do this and to have fun with it and to explore outweighed all of those negative, egotistical thoughts of just like, but so much could go wrong. That wasn't even in my head because I was so excited and I was so focused on what could go right and nothing went wrong. Like it was one of those things. So if you have to be a little delulu in that way, do it because it's radical self confidence and it's radical confidence in everything's going to work out no matter what. And that could be applied to any endeavor that you want to try in life. And it's the belief behind it. So, how sturdy are you with those positive beliefs? Is also another huge aspect to look into. Like, yeah, we believe that everything happens for a reason, but like, how sturdy are you on it? How much are you willing to go against, like, bet on that? You
Mhm.
know, when everything's going wrong and things are falling apart in your life, like, how do you feel inside? Are you still like, this is happening for a reason? Or are you like, oh my God, that's it. I can't, you know, like life is throwing these things at me for the worst reasons. Like, no, stand your motherfucking ground and take a good hard look at your beliefs in that way. Something that I do also is when I feel resistance in any type of situation. So let's just say like this networking meeting or networking event that I'm going to tonight or something like that. If I feel any resistance about going to it, I will journal out in a very specific way. And I've done this plenty of times before, and I feel like it works very well for me personally. Um, I will write down all the things that I'm feeling, and I'll be very, very specific and I'll be very raw and very honest with myself because I don't know if people are like this too, but I'll try and lie to myself as much as I can and be like, no, I'm fine. Like, no, like it's good. Like, we got it, like, whatever. But inside, I'm freaking out for a specific reason. So I will journal all the details of like, like I'm just not that good. I just feel not as confident with my speaking or with how I appear, or with how many times I use filler words and how confident, like whatever. And I'll write down all these limiting beliefs that are floating in my head and I'll just kind of target them and be like, I see you, I see you, I see you, I see you. And then I'll write down all of the higher self action words and everything that I'm feeling to completely combat all of those. So if one of them is like, I just don't know, I'm kind of nervous about like speaking and how I'm going to come across as like professional, because whatever, I would write down like, I am the most professional that I've ever been in my life.
Mm.
And I know my values and I am very sturdy and I'm sure of this dream and I know that it's going to work out regardless what anyone thinks of me and my professionalism. So in that way, it's kind of putting it in a different perspective of being like, but do I really give a shit if like someone I'm networking to, doesn't see like look at me as like the most professional? No, because I'm learning and because even the most successful people had a first day at anything. Let's look at Mike Tyson since he's so relevant. He had a first day of boxing. He had a first day of fighting. And did he let his limiting beliefs stop him from becoming like the best boxer ever? Like, no, you do it fucking anyway. So that journaling thing just helps me a lot because it shuts them up all at the same time. Every limiting belief is just like, nope, because of this. Nope, because of that. And it's just like, okay, I have nothing else. I have no other excuse to tell myself now. And then
Mhm.
you just head straight into it. So that's another tip. I feel like if you wanted to try, definitely give it a go. And yeah, sometimes it's just about shutting up those voices and making room for louder, better voices.
Yeah, well, I know that I'll be trying that. I wrote all of that down, so I hope that you guys did too. And I feel like that is just amazing homework. After all of this, like I think that is the best homework for you guys to do is really just go and take action right now.
Don't wait right now.
All right.
So,
I feel like we covered a lot. Like I feel like this was a really good jam-packed value podcast for these people. I was gonna say queens, but I'm working on that.
see, there you go. We're working on it.
Men and women.
Yeah, honestly. And I found value in it myself just listening to you, being on the other end of it. I'm just like, ooh, I feel good. I feel better.
Well, hopefully y'all feel good too. I feel like this was such a good one. I definitely feel the same way. So this might be an episode y'all want to listen to like 2 or 3 times. I know that I will be, but definitely listen to this a couple of times because each time that you listen to it, this is something I've noticed listening to multiple podcasts like back to back is that you will have different realizations and different breakthroughs each time, right? So there's been some of Michaela's podcasts that I've listened to like 3 times, but each time I listen to it, I have a new breakthrough or I have something else that I can really relate it through. So don't be afraid to, replay.
A replay. You know that song by Zendaya?
I don't
Wanna
know.
put this song on replay. Oh,
I was thinking of like,
it's an
oh,
old one.
it's like body like a melody in my head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that one.
Na 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 every day. Na 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 on replay, replay.
Oh,
I don't know.
oh. Turns into a soul sync sing along.
We should have one of those one day. We just do a whole podcast singing. That would be,
Yeah. We just have the lyrics on the screen.
I
Sing
know.
along if you want. Or we can make it like our own like motivational, like it'll be a podcast episode, but just sung.
I was thinking, yeah, be like, guys, go love yourself.
Fuck these limiting beliefs.
Funny. Oh my God.
Stay tuned for a soul sync sing along, people.
I see what happens when you eliminate your limiting beliefs and you don't give a fuck. You just get to be you, goofy, raw, you, and hopefully we made you laugh.
I think we definitely did. I love it. So, where can they find you, Sammy?
Y'all know you can find me on all platforms, Sammy Roos, SAMIRUESS, and Instagram, TikTok has that underscore.
That underscore. You can find me at melt underscore ebb and flow NJ on Instagram. We also have our main account and our TikTok is ebb and flow NJ. Give us a little follow. It's all massage, yoga, wellness, meditation. It's all good stuff. So, but you gotta follow our SoulSync account first and foremost. SoulSync SB, baby, on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and we have an Ask Us account.
Well,
Tell us your limiting beliefs. Tell us what usually circulates through your head and then what you're doing to fight those bitches.
I love that. And also comment below. Spotify has this amazing new feature, and obviously YouTube always had it, but It's really cool that on Spotify you can comment under the podcast now. So if you guys want to leave us a 5-star review, like thank you, we appreciate you. And tell us your favorite part of the podcast. Maybe even send it to a friend that, they have been like really doing the work behind the scenes and you just want to give them credit for that and be like, hey, you're killing it. Keep going. Like this just goes to show that you're gonna have everything that you want.
I love that. You heard the woman. So until next time, everyone, we love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.